You think your suffering comes from life being difficult, but often it comes from your inability to stay still while life is being difficult. The anxious mind calls itself careful. The angry mind calls itself honest. The controlling mind calls itself responsible. But Buddhism teaches something terrifying. A disturbed mind can turn even peace into suffering. Look closely at your life. How many wounds were caused by the moment itself, and how many were caused by your reaction to the moment? Because the person who cannot stay calm becomes a prisoner of every conversation, every delay, every rejection, every opinion. And the strange part is this: the calmer you become, the less life can control you. Not because pain disappears, but because you stop handing your inner world to chaos. And once you understand what Buddhism discovered about emotional stillness, you may never react to life the same way again. Your anxiety is not protecting you. What if the voice in your mind that promises to protect you is the very voice keeping you imprisoned? A fearful mind sees danger even in open doors. You call it planning, you call it being careful. But if your thoughts are constantly racing toward what might go wrong, you are not preparing for life. You are rehearsing suffering before it arrives. This is one of the deepest truths in Buddhist wisdom. Anxiety is attachment wearing the mask of responsibility. It is the mind's desperate attempt to control a future that has never asked for your permission. And the more tightly you grip tomorrow, the more you lose today. Imagine a man standing beside a still lake at dawn. The water is clear enough to reflect the entire sky, but in his fear, he begins stirring the surface with his own hands, searching for certainty. The reflection disappears. Then he blames the lake for being disturbed. This is what anxiety does. It shakes the waters of your mind, then convinces you that life is the problem. But success does not belong to the person who worries the most. It belongs to the one who can remain steady while uncertainty moves around them. A calm mind sees what an anxious mind cannot. It notices opportunities hidden behind discomfort. It hears wisdom beneath emotional noise. It responds instead of reacts. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine your thoughts as birds crying loudly above a vast forest. They circle, they screech, they demand your attention. But you are not the birds. You are the silent earth beneath them. The forest does not chase every sound. It remains rooted. And because it remains rooted, it survives every storm. Ask yourself, what future are you trying so hard to control? Has anxiety ever given you the peace it promised? Who would you become if fear stopped narrating your life? The Buddha taught that suffering begins when we cling to what cannot be controlled. Peace begins when we loosen our grasp. When life hurts, your power is not in forcing certainty. Your power is in staying calm enough to trust the next step. Because the greatest success in life is not controlling everything around you. It is mastering the mind within you. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "My peace is power." 2. Stop worshipping emotional reactions. Why do some people destroy years of peace in 5 emotional minutes? One uncontrolled moment can become a lifelong regret. A son says one harsh sentence to his father. A husband slams the door. A friend sends a message written in anger. The emotion lasts for 5 minutes, but the consequences can echo for years. This is the hidden cost of reacting. Most anger is not born from what happened. It is born from the painful collision between reality and the identity you were trying to protect. Life did not follow your script. Someone failed to respect you. A situation exposed your vulnerability. And the ego, feeling threatened, demands an immediate response. But the Buddha taught that the first person burned by anger is the one carrying it. Anger is a torch raised against the darkness, yet it scorches the hand holding it long before it touches anyone else. In those moments, you believe you are defending yourself, but what are you really protecting? an image of how others should treat you, an expectation of how life should unfold, a story that says, if this does not go my way, I cannot be at peace. This is why emotional reactions feel powerful in the moment, but leave emptiness afterward. You won the argument, but lost your calm. You proved your point, but damaged the relationship. True strength is not found in the speed of your response. It is found in your ability to remain still when your emotions beg you to strike. Imagine someone insulting you as you stand beside a quiet river. Their words fall like dry leaves onto the surface. The current carries them away. You watch them pass, but you do not gather them and press them against your heart. This is emotional mastery. Not suppressing what you feel, but refusing to worship every emotion as truth. Ask yourself, what expectation keeps creating your anger? Who are you trying to protect when you react? How many meaningful relationships were wounded by temporary emotion? When life hurts, the mind wants to retaliate, but the wise remain calm enough to choose peace over impulse. Because success is not only measured by what you achieve, it is measured by how much peace you preserve while achieving it. 3. Calmness is invisible dominance. Why do the calmest people often become the most respected people in the room without ever asking for attention? Still, water reflects the moon better than crashing waves. There is a quiet authority that belongs to those who have learned to master themselves. They do not speak the loudest. They do not rush to prove their worth. Yet when they enter a room, others feel it. Their presence carries weight. When problems arise, they do not scatter their energy in panic. While others react emotionally, they observe carefully. While others chase control, they choose their response with precision. And because they choose, rather than react, life begins trusting them with greater responsibility. People confide in them. Opportunities move toward them. Influence grows around them, not because they demand power, but because they embody stability. A mountain never argues with the storm. It does not chase the thunder away. It does not beg the wind to stop. It simply remains unmoved until the storm exhausts itself. This is calmness. It is invisible dominance. The world may be noisy, but your nervous system no longer obeys every disturbance. This is why calm people often succeed where anxious people collapse. Their energy is not wasted on emotional leakage. Their mind remains clear enough to see what others miss: the right decision, the hidden opportunity, the path forward. Close your eyes and imagine yourself in the center of chaos. Voices rise, deadlines press in, unexpected problems appear. But your breathing remains slow and steady. Your body grows heavier than the noise around you. And suddenly, you realize something profound. The situation is no longer controlling you. You are controlling the situation. Ask yourself, do you control your emotions, or do they control you? What power have you surrendered through impulsive reactions? How would your life change if calmness became your identity? The Buddha taught that a disciplined mind brings happiness. When you become internally still, you stop being pushed around by every external event, and that is when true success begins. Because the most powerful person in any room is not the loudest. It is the one who remains peaceful while everyone else loses themselves. 4. Your need for control is creating your suffering. What if your exhaustion does not come from life itself, but from the silent war you fight against reality every single day? The tighter the grip, the faster peace escapes. Many people wake up tired, not because they worked too hard, but because their minds spent the night demanding certainty from an uncertain world. You want guarantees before you trust, answers before you become patient, control before you allow yourself to rest. You tell yourself, once everything is clear, then I will be at peace. But life rarely offers that bargain. A relationship changes, a plan collapses, A door closes without explanation, and the mind tightens, believing that if it worries enough, it can force life to obey. This is where suffering quietly begins. The Buddha taught that pain is part of life, but much of our suffering comes from resisting what is already here. Trying to control life is like trying to hold smoke with closed fists. The harder you squeeze, the less you possess, and all that remains is tension in your hands. Think of the nights you lay awake, replaying conversations, predicting outcomes, trying to solve what had not yet happened. Did your grasp create peace, or did it steal the only moment you truly had? Control promises safety, but often delivers exhaustion. Acceptance, on the other hand, looks passive to the ego, but it is one of the strongest acts a human being can perform. Acceptance says, I do not need to understand everything to move forward. I do not need certainty to trust this moment. I do not need control to remain calm. Close your eyes and imagine your hands tightly clenched. Feel the invisible weight in your chest. Now, slowly open your palms. Notice how the body softens when the mind stops fighting. This is what surrender feels like. Not giving up on life, stopping the battle with life. Ask yourself, what are you trying too hard to force? What pain would disappear if you accepted uncertainty? Are you resisting life more than you are living it? Success does not come to those who control every outcome. It comes to those who stay steady when outcomes cannot be controlled. When you release your need to force reality, your energy returns, your vision clears, your heart becomes lighter, and life, at last, stops feeling like an enemy. Because peace begins the moment you unclench your grip and allow life to unfold. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "My peace is power." 5. Detachment does not mean becoming cold. Can you love someone deeply without drowning in the fear of losing them? Peace begins when love no longer needs possession. Many people believe attachment is proof of love. They say, "I cannot live without you," as if dependence were devotion. But what often appears to be love is a quiet bargain. Stay exactly as I need you to be, so I can feel whole. This is not peace. It is emotional captivity. The Buddha taught that suffering begins when we cling to what was never ours to keep. People change, relationships evolve, some remain for decades. Others leave after teaching a single lesson. When your identity is tied to their presence, every change feels like a threat to your existence. True detachment is not becoming cold. It is learning to love without turning another human being into the foundation of your emotional stability. It is emotional freedom. Imagine holding a small bird in your hands. If you grip too tightly, you harm what you love. If you hold too loosely, you neglect it. But if you hold it gently, the bird can breathe. And if the day comes when it must fly away, your love remains, even as your hands open. This is detachment, to care deeply while accepting that nothing in life can be possessed. A mother watches her child grow and leave home. A partner changes. A friendship fades. The detached heart feels the sadness fully, but it does not collapse. Because it was rooted in love, not ownership. Close your eyes and picture someone you fear losing. Feel the tenderness in your heart. Now imagine loving them completely while releasing the belief that your peace depends on their staying. Notice the quiet strength that begins to appear. This is what inner freedom feels like. Ask yourself, do you truly love people, or do you depend on them to feel secure? What attachment secretly controls your happiness? Can peace exist where there is no ownership? The most mature love says, "I cherish you, but I do not need to possess you to remain whole." When you stop chaining your peace to people, outcomes and circumstances, loss no longer destroys your identity. You grieve, but you remain grounded. You care, but you remain free. And that is the paradox of Buddhist wisdom. The less you cling, the more deeply you can love. Because the strongest heart is not the one that holds on the tightest. It is the one that knows how to open its hands and still remain at peace. 6. Your mind is addicted to noise. Why do so many people fear silence more than they fear suffering? Noise distracts the wounded from meeting themselves. A man wakes up and reaches for his phone before his feet touch the floor. Notifications, videos, headlines, messages. All day long, his mind is fed with movement. By night, he is exhausted. But the moment silence arrives, an old sadness begins to speak. So he turns the noise back on. Many people are not addicted to stimulation. They are addicted to avoiding themselves. The constant scrolling, the overthinking, the need to stay busy. These habits often look harmless, but beneath them is a quiet fear. If I stop, I will have to feel what I have been running from. The Buddha understood this deeply. He taught that peace does not come from filling the mind. It comes from seeing the mind clearly. But this requires stillness. The restless mind is like a room where every radio is playing at once. One station repeats regrets from the past. Another predicts disasters in the future. Another compares your life to everyone else's. And in all that noise, you can no longer hear your own inner wisdom. This is why silence can feel uncomfortable at first, not because something is wrong, but because truth has finally entered the room. Close your eyes for 1 minute. Imagine your thoughts as distant echoes in a vast canyon. They call out, but you do not chase them. You simply listen. And gradually, the echoes begin to fade. What remains is not emptiness. It is presence. In that quiet, you may meet grief you never processed, fear you never acknowledged, longings you buried beneath productivity. This is not a setback. This is healing. Because the wounds you refuse to face will continue to govern your life from the shadows. Ask yourself, what are you avoiding through distraction? When was the last time you sat peacefully with yourself? Is your busyness healing you or hiding you? Success is not only about doing more. It is about becoming still enough to hear what truly matters. When you make peace with silence, you stop needing the world to drown out your pain. Your mind becomes clearer. Your heart becomes lighter. And the calm you were searching for outside begins to rise from within. Because the deepest transformation begins when you are no longer afraid to sit alone with your own soul. 7. Pain is not your enemy. What if suffering is not caused by pain itself, but by the part of you that refuses to let pain be present? Pain knocks on every door. Suffering moves in when resistance opens it. A relationship ends. A dream collapses. Someone you love changes, leaves, or disappears. In those moments, pain arrives without asking permission. This is part of being human. The Buddha never promised a life without pain. He offered something more honest and more liberating. Pain is inevitable, but the story you build around pain is optional. The first wound is what happened. The second wound is the mind whispering, "This should not be happening." And often, the second wound hurts longer than the first. Pain is like rain. It falls on every life. But suffering begins when you build your entire house inside the storm and call the storm your identity. Many people do this without realizing it. They replay the betrayal until it becomes who they are. They feed their grief with endless mental arguments. They cling to the hope that if they resist hard enough, the past will change. But reality does not bend to protest. Healing begins when resistance ends. The calm mind does not deny pain. It feels it fully without becoming consumed by it. It says, "This hurts, but this is not the end of me." Close your eyes and imagine standing in the rain. The water falls across your face and shoulders. You do not run. You do not curse the sky. You simply stand there, breathing. After a while, something unexpected happens. The rain is still falling, but your fear of it begins to dissolve. This is acceptance, not weakness, not surrender to despair. A quiet willingness to let life be what it is without fighting every drop. Ask yourself, which pain are you still feeding with your thoughts? What would happen if you stopped arguing with reality? Could acceptance become the doorway to your freedom? Success is not reserved for those who avoid pain. It belongs to those who can carry pain without allowing it to poison their mind. When you stop identifying with your wounds, you discover a deeper strength, a stillness that survives heartbreak, a peace that remains even in loss. Because pain may visit your life, but it does not have to become your home. 8. The ego panics when it cannot win. Why do difficult conversations make you feel as if your entire world is under attack? The ego would rather defend itself than understand the truth. Someone offers criticism, and within seconds your chest tightens. Your mind begins gathering evidence. You stop listening, not because the other person is wrong, but because a deeper part of you feels threatened. Most people do not enter conflict to understand. They enter conflict to survive. The ego treats disagreement like death. If someone questions your choices, your beliefs, or your character, the ego hears you are losing your worth. And when your identity depends on being right, calmness becomes impossible. You are no longer having a conversation. You are fighting to protect an image of yourself. The ego is like a glass throne. It looks impressive from a distance, but it trembles at the smallest stone. One honest comment, one rejection, one misunderstanding, and suddenly all your emotional stability begins to crack. The Buddha taught that the self we defend so fiercely is often just a collection of stories we have mistaken for truth. When you loosen your attachment to those stories, criticism stops feeling like destruction. It becomes information, a mirror, an opportunity to see what pride was hiding. Imagine someone speaking words that challenge you. You feel the first spark of defensiveness rise in your body, but instead of tightening, you relax your shoulders, you breathe slowly, you listen fully, and you realize that peace is more valuable than winning. This is inner maturity, the ability to hear something uncomfortable without turning it into a battle. Not every criticism is accurate, but every criticism reveals something. Either a truth you need to face or an insecurity you need to heal. Ask yourself, why do you need others to validate your identity? What criticism hurts you most, and what does that pain reveal? Can you remain peaceful even when you are misunderstood? The strongest people are not those who win every argument. They are those who no longer need to. They know who they are, and they are humble enough to keep learning. When the ego stops demanding victory, the heart becomes available for wisdom. And in that wisdom, a deeper calm begins to grow. Because true success is not proving yourself to the world. It is becoming so rooted within yourself that disagreement no longer shakes your peace. Stillness creates better decisions. Why do emotionally reactive people so often become the architects of their own regret? A rushed mind chooses escape over wisdom. In a single moment of anger, a career can be damaged. In one impulsive message, a relationship can fracture. In one fearful decision, years of effort can be abandoned. The tragedy is not that these people lacked intelligence. The tragedy is that they made permanent decisions in temporary emotional weather. Emotion always wants immediate relief. It wants to speak now, quit now, defend now, escape now. But calmness asks a different question. What choice will still feel true tomorrow? This is why calm people quietly build stronger lives, while reactive people spend years rebuilding what their impulses destroyed. The Buddha taught that a disciplined mind becomes a source of profound freedom. When the mind is agitated, even wise people lose their direction. When the mind is still, truth becomes easier to recognize. A compass during a storm spins wildly. North is still there, but the needle cannot settle long enough to reveal it. Only when the winds become quiet does the compass point clearly. Your mind works the same way. The right decision is often already within you, but emotional turbulence keeps you from seeing it. Think of the times you acted too quickly, the message sent in anger, the opportunity rejected out of fear, the promise broken because discomfort felt unbearable. How much pain came not from life itself, but from decisions made while your inner world was in chaos. Now, imagine a different way. Before every reaction, you take one slow breath. The body softens, the mind widens. A small gap appears between feeling and action, and in that gap, wisdom enters. You realize you do not have to follow every emotion. You can feel deeply and still choose wisely. This is one of the strongest forms of self-mastery, not controlling life, controlling the moment before you react to life. Ask yourself, what decisions in your past were made from emotional confusion? How much damage came from impatience? What would happen if you paused before reacting? Success is not only for people who never feel fear, anger, or doubt. It belongs to those who refuse to let those emotions make their choices. When your mind becomes calm, your decisions become clearer, your words become wiser, your future becomes stronger. Because one calm breath can save you from years of regret. And sometimes, the most important decision you will ever make is the one you choose not to make until your heart becomes quiet. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "My peace is power." 10. Stop fighting every moment. What if peace is not something you need to search for, but something you stop leaving behind in every ordinary moment? Life becomes easier when you stop fighting every passing wave. A driver cuts you off. A message gets no reply. Traffic slows down. Plans change. Someone misunderstands you. The mind quickly tightens and whispers, "This should not be happening." That sentence seems small, but repeated throughout the day, it becomes a silent form of self-torture. Many people are not tired because life is unbearable. They are tired because they fight reality from morning until night. They resist delays, criticism, uncertainty, endings, and change. They fight every wave that touches the shore of their life, and then they wonder why they feel so drained. The Buddha taught that resistance increases suffering. Pain may visit for a moment, resistance asks it to stay. Fighting every moment is like punching the ocean because it has waves. The ocean does not stop, only your energy fades away. Calm. People understand a hidden truth. Not every experience deserves an emotional fight. Some moments are meant to be accepted, not defeated. A delayed flight, a difficult conversation, a season of uncertainty. These are passing weather, not permanent definitions of your life. Close your eyes and imagine yourself floating in deep water. The moment you stop struggling, the water begins to hold you. What felt dangerous becomes something that carries you. This is surrender, not defeat, a wiser way of relating to reality. Acceptance says, "This moment is here. I will face it without turning it into war." And in that choice, your energy returns, your breath slows, your mind clears, your heart becomes open enough to respond with wisdom. Ask yourself, what daily frustrations steal your peace? Why do temporary moments hold so much power over your emotions? What if acceptance is strength, not weakness? Success belongs to those who save their energy for what truly matters. They do not waste their life fighting every inconvenience. They stay calm while others are consumed by resistance. And because they stay calm, they think clearly, act wisely, and move steadily forward. The greatest freedom is not controlling every moment. It is learning to stop fighting moments you cannot control. When you let go of the need to fight life, life becomes lighter, and in that lightness, you discover a quiet truth. Peace was never far away. It was waiting for you to stop struggling long enough to feel it. 11. The calm person often wins last. Why do the calmest people often succeed later than everyone else, yet build the kind of life that lasts? The tree with the deepest roots fears no wind. In the early stages of life, it may seem like the most impulsive people are winning. They move fast, speak boldly, and chase every opportunity with restless energy. From the outside, their lives look impressive, but what grows quickly is not always strong, and what shines brightly for a moment may burn out just as quickly. The calm person often moves differently. They are not rushing to prove themselves. They take time to understand their emotions, improve their character, and build a mind that stays steady under pressure. This can seem slow to the world, but calmness creates consistency. Consistency builds trust, and trust opens doors that force can never open. Employers trust them with responsibility. Friends trust them with vulnerability. Life trusts them with opportunities that need stability. While others chase instant results, they are becoming the kind of person who can handle success without being destroyed by it. The sun never rushes to rise. Yet every morning, the whole world waits for it. True success unfolds the same way, quietly, steadily, without the need for drama. Think of a person who stays composed when everyone else feels overwhelmed. They listen before speaking. They respond without panic. They keep their promises. Over time, people begin to depend on them, and that reliability becomes influence. Not loud influence, earned influence. Close your eyes and imagine yourself walking slowly through chaos. People rush past you, voices rise, pressure grows, but your inner world stays untouched. Each step is steady, each breath is calm, and with every step, your presence becomes stronger. Ask yourself, are you chasing success or becoming someone capable of keeping it? What if emotional mastery is the real advantage? Who are you becoming through your reactions? The Buddha taught that a well-trained mind brings lasting happiness. The same is true of lasting success. When your mind becomes rooted, life no longer knocks you down. It begins to trust you, and in time, doors open naturally. Because the greatest victories often belong to those who were patient enough to become unshakable. The world may celebrate speed, but life rewards those who know how to stay calm long enough to endure. Bonus: your peace is your greatest success. What if the greatest achievement in life is not wealth, status, or victory, but inner freedom? The person who masters themselves cannot be controlled by the world. A man may build a successful career, earn respect, and have everything he once dreamed of. Yet at night, his mind stays restless. He lies in bed replaying conversations, fearing loss, and carrying tension no one else can see. Outwardly, he looks successful. Inwardly, he is still at war. This is the hidden tragedy of modern life. Many people spend years chasing external success while ignoring the condition of their inner world. They gain more, but enjoy less. They achieve more, but feel less peace. The Buddha taught that no outside achievement can satisfy a mind that has not learned to rest within itself. A peaceful person sleeps better, loves more deeply, decides more wisely, lives more lightly. And because they are no longer controlled by fear, comparison, or endless craving, they experience a form of wealth that cannot be measured. Inner peace is a candle untouched by the storm outside the window. The rain may fall, the wind may blow. The world may stay uncertain, but the flame continues to burn steadily. This is true success. Not a life without difficulty, but a mind that stays clear in the middle of difficulty. Imagine your thoughts becoming still like the sky before sunrise. The darkness is present, yet the horizon slowly softens. There is no struggle, no urgency, only a quiet awareness that light is already on its way. Feel how silence itself starts to heal you. In that silence, you realize that peace was never something the world could give you. and it was never something the world could take away. Ask yourself, what is the true cost of losing your peace? Have you become successful on the outside while staying chaotic inside? What would your life look like if calmness became your highest priority? When peace becomes your foundation, success stops feeling like a desperate chase. It becomes a natural expression of inner balance. You work with clarity. You love without fear. You move through life without carrying unnecessary battles. And in the end, calmness may be the rarest kind of wealth on earth. Because the greatest success is not having the world in your hands, it is having peace in your heart, even when the world is not under your control. Quick summary. Your anxiety is not protecting you. Anxiety often hides itself as preparation, but it slowly steals your peace and clarity. A restless mind creates suffering even before life truly hurts you. Fear makes you imagine disasters that do not yet exist. Calm awareness sees reality clearly. Anxiety distorts everything through tension. Stop worshipping emotional reactions. Most emotional explosions come from wounded expectations, not the moment itself. Anger grows when reality refuses to follow your ego. Reacting emotionally gives short-term relief, but long-term damage. True strength begins when you stop letting emotions control your actions. Calmness is invisible. Dominance, calm. People influence environments without forcing control. Emotional stability creates better decisions under pressure. The person who stays composed during chaos naturally earns respect. Stillness is often a stronger form of power than aggression. Your need for control is creating your suffering. The more you try to control life, the more mentally tired you become. Peace disappears when your happiness depends on certainty. Acceptance reduces emotional resistance and inner conflict. Letting go is not weakness, it is emotional intelligence. Detachment does not mean becoming cold. True detachment means loving deeply without losing yourself emotionally. Peace begins when your stability no longer depends on people or outcomes. Emotional freedom allows you to feel without becoming consumed. Attachment creates fear. Detachment creates inner balance. Your mind is addicted to noise. Constant distraction stops you from facing unresolved emotions. Silence feels uncomfortable because it reveals inner chaos. Many people stay busy to avoid meeting themselves honestly. Inner peace grows when the mind learns to rest without stimulation. Pain is not your enemy. Pain is a natural part of life, but suffering grows through resistance. Fighting reality emotionally increases mental suffering. Acceptance turns pain into wisdom instead of bitterness. Calm people experience pain without becoming trapped inside it. The ego panics when it cannot win. Most conflicts are battles to protect identity, not discover truth. The ego treats disagreement like a personal attack. Emotional instability often comes from the desperate need to be right. Peace becomes possible when understanding matters more than winning. Stillness creates better decisions. Emotional reactions often destroy long-term success. Calmness creates clarity, patience, and wiser judgment. One peaceful pause can prevent years of regret. The strongest decisions are rarely made in emotional chaos. Stop fighting every moment. Resistance turns ordinary situations into emotional suffering. Many people are exhausted because they mentally fight everything. Acceptance saves emotional energy and restores inner peace. Life becomes lighter when you stop resisting temporary discomfort. The calm person often wins. Last, emotional discipline quietly creates long-term success. Calm people build trust because they stay steady under pressure. Patience creates opportunities that emotional impulsiveness destroys. True power grows slowly through consistency and inner control. Your peace is your greatest success. External success means little without inner peace. A peaceful mind creates a lighter, and more meaningful life. Emotional mastery is one of the rarest forms of wealth. The greatest freedom is becoming emotionally unshakable. Most people spend their whole lives trying to control the world without ever learning how to control their own mind. They chase success while losing sleep. They chase love while losing themselves. They chase peace while feeding the very emotions, destroying it. But Buddhism teaches a truth few people are ready to hear. The calmer you become, the less life can control your spirit. Calmness is not weakness. It is the quiet ability to remain centered while everything around you shakes. The one who conquers himself is greater than the one who conquers 1,000 men in battle. Zen philosophy reminds us that peace does not come from escaping pain. It comes from no longer allowing pain to control your inner world. A still mind sees clearly, a detached heart suffers less, and a peaceful soul moves through life with a quiet kind of power that chaos can never destroy. So, as you move through tomorrow, ask yourself gently, what would my life look like if I stopped reacting to everything? If this video awakened something inside you, take one deep breath before leaving, and promise yourself that your peace will no longer be sacrificed for temporary emotions. And if these teachings spoke to your heart, don't forget to like this video, share your thoughts and experiences in the comments. For more inspiring Buddhist insights on living a calmer, more peaceful, and spiritually awakened life.